Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Listen, welcome to All Hands on Deck. I am Reverend Ira Ackery, and here I have my beautiful host here, Lady D, is in the house. Welcome to All Hands on Deck. We have a great mission here, and we have a great show planned for you. First show of the year.
That's right. It's our first show back. I'm so excited about it. There's so much content that we have to cover. My name is Doris Davenport, and I'm so pleased to be co-hosting All Hands on Deck with Pastor Ira Ackery.
This is the first show of the year, and I forgot to tell you guys who are tuning in for the first time. This is an extraordinary businesswoman, a community leader, and a dynamic radio personality.
Well, you all know Pastor Ira Ackery is the pastor of Greater St. John Baptist Church, and he has been a wonderful advocate in the community for so long, and I'm just so pleased to be here with him. And yes, we do have a great show for you. As Pastor said, this is the beginning of our series. You know, we're on 13 weeks and off 13 weeks. We always like to start our series off with the best and the brightest. Today is no exception.
There's so much to be talking about this year. Me and Doris, throughout the year, we're going to be watching for a couple things. Number one, the decline of the population in Chicago.
Yes.
It's amazing how these numbers are plummeting, and it's hitting the African American community the most.
The most. And there are many different reasons that people want to point at as to why so many African Americans are leaving the city. I'd have to say first on the list are taxes, and more taxes.
Poor schools in urban communities.
Yes, and I tell you, we talk about taxes, but let's just put property taxes in a category all by itself because housing is so critical. And for so many of our people in the African American community, that first home is really that legacy that you're able to leave for your children. And so many lost it in the last economic downturn that we had.
So I'm telling you, you're going to really be encouraged, motivated, inspired, and educated, and you're going to help us educate the masses as we talk about all of these issues that are affecting all of us. Also, poverty, lack of opportunity, jobs. Drugs are coming in, jobs are going out.
That's right.
It's a mess here. So we got that. We're dealing with the population decline.
Representation. And also, how many people feel like they're taxed so much, but they really don't have fair and transparent representation?
I can't believe you keep talking about taxes. I'm the tax man. I mean, I'm the one last year that kept talking about Queen Sugar and making my comments and all of that. And you said, no, the taxes are so good because...
I never said taxes are
I'm
good,
just
but
really
I can
shocked today, but I appreciate
don't
it.
say that.
And then what about public
I just
safety?
don't like sugar.
What about public safety?
And I hate regressive taxes.
Me too! Public safety issues here. Do you not know, Doris, we have a superintendent who, I give him credit, he's done more than the guy who McCarthy who just left out, but
the one who's threatening to run for mayor?
Yes. We're gonna talk about that. Watch the mayoral race. It's so much to talk about. But you know, Chicago, they're bragging about 650 murders, and everybody wants to throw a party for the police department
believe it?
And all that. But the truth of the matter is, we have 650 murders, and New York only has 290, and it's 9 million people.
That's right. That's right. It's nothing to brag about.
These people are excited. Lady D, they're ready for you. We got a great guest in our studio, Dr. Marsha Hatch, but the phone calls are lit up already.
Yes, the board is already lit up. Why don't we take a first caller just before we bring on our guest, huh? It looks like we're not going to take a caller right now. But you know what? Pastor Hatch, there's so many things. Pastor Hatch, I'm already giving it away who our guest is. It was supposed to be a surprise. I looked over and saw him come in the studio and just lost it.
You just gave me a promotion. I'm now the chairman of the board of a major institution.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
But can you lay the groundwork for what we're going to talk about? I think you prepared to do that.
Well, you know, we have been hearing in the news of late about a police shooting. And one of the things that everybody's talking about is the number of police shootings that have taken place in the city of Chicago. What people are most dismayed about is that so many of these shootings have taken place And if you look at public opinion by witnesses, by people that have been directly impacted, is that many of them are simply not justified. However, when it comes to the investigation process, they end up being justified, and the police end up going unpunished. Well, we have had a situation here of late, a woman named Betty Jones, who was killed and shot by a police officer who went to the scene of a crime for somebody unrelated to her, and she ended up dying, losing her life. Her family lost this woman, and she has 2 daughters who are trying to keep this, not just her memory alive, but really seeking justice in this case. And we've been fortunate to have one of our leading advocates in the community to be the pastor of these 2 young women.
That's a God movement.
That's a God movement, isn't it?
All the pastors in this city.
Yes.
How in the world would these people belong to New Mount Pilgrim Church?
That's right. That's right. All of these people right there at New Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. And I think we need to take a quick break here, and maybe we can pull up our mission for the good people.
Absolutely.
And we're going to bring on our guest. And what we'd like to do is to pull that up for you and bring our guest on in just a moment. So,
Dr. Marsha Hatch is coming on.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
There's something wrong with, there we go. We've got it. We always wonder if we have our technology right, and today we have got it right on target. And when the cameras come back up, we're going to have in front of you none other than our very special guest for the afternoon.
Dr. Marsha Hatch,
hello.
Welcome.
How you doing there, Reverend Ackery? And glad to be here with you and the fabulous Sister Davenport.
Listen, Doris laid it out. Is there anything else you'd like to add to it? She kind of gave us some context.
We really have reemerged with this case because of the findings of COPA, which is the civilian oversight agency that just has been put in place to investigate police misconduct.
Sure.
And this agency came forth, I think, courageously and with integrity to determine that this police shooting was unjustified. And because it's unjustified, it means that neither of these 2 individuals, Betty Jones nor Quinton LeGrier, should have been killed. And so we're calling for this officer to be fired. The Superintendent Johnson has 30 days to act. And we're also calling on State's Attorney Kim Foxx to step up to the plate and reopen her investigation and bring formal charges against this police officer who really, this is a double homicide.
It's really a travesty, man, because this was really, I heard you at your eulogy describe this as a good neighbor.
Yeah.
She was really just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, she was trying to open the door to help the police in. You had the domestic crisis, young man who is 19 years old, Quinton LeGrier, Ward the State, home from Northern Illinois University for the first time during Christmas break. He and his father, who didn't live together, he was visiting his father, called the police for help. And they end up with a dead son and a dead neighbor, Betty Jones.
Let me say this to you. Pastor, you don't get this question too often, but I'm going to ask you because I was there when you did both of those services. And people expect you to come forward as Superman. How you doing? How about that?
Not well. It was clear to me that year, and of course, unfortunately, I had to do Betty Jones' service on that Wednesday and Quinton LeGrier on that Saturday of that first week of the year in 2016. Toward the first quarter of the year, it was clear to me that I had personally been traumatized. I don't talk about it a lot because it's not about me. I think these families have suffered incalculable grief. But for me personally, it has been traumatic with a lot of the things that we have to deal with in our communities. But this these two people deserve justice, and I really feel strongly about it.
Kim Fox, it seems like our organization is interested in moving forward and putting some pressure on her office. What do you think of the realistic possibilities, and what's the message we're giving just confronting
we put
Kim's
her
office?
we put Kim Fox in office. She won with votes from our community, and we put confidence in her personally. But I think all of us that have been out here for a while understand how advocacy works. You can have good people in office, but in those political offices, people have to be made to do
There
the
you
right
go.
thing. I
There
mean,
you
they're
go.
not necessarily going to just
There you
do
go.
it, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And without pressure, you're not going to get justice in this case, even with Kim Fox as the
Good.
state's attorney. I mean,
very
she
good.
has to be made to do what's right. I think we all really know what happened. I mean, the attorneys do all the arguing. Let's be clear on what happened. Unjustifiably, this cop killed 2 people, and I can verify they are dead.
Yeah.
And these families are grieving, and he's still working and drawing our tax dollars. And he's been found by the oversight agency to have been unjustified in killing them. And so what more do we need to know that, number one, he should be fired by the police, and number 2, he should be prosecuted by the state's attorney, period.
So if there's going to be some real authentic improvement in the police and community relations, it can start with this particular case.
Absolutely.
Both cases, in fact, because COPA has come out and said unjustifiable shootings. And I understand that right now there's plans for some action on Thursday. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked to Commissioner Richard Boykin and members of our organization, of which you and I are part of, and we're going to pay a visit to the offices of the state's attorney
Uh-oh.
and demand that she do her job.
Sure.
I mean, whatever findings she had in February, the landscape has changed given COPA's assessment
Absolutely.
that these shootings are unjustified.
What would, other than politics, what other reason could she use for not revisiting the case?
I certainly couldn't argue her case. I think she needs to come before the community, use her good offices, I mean, to bring justice for these families. And if she comes to any other conclusion other than charging this officer,
Sure.
I sure would like to know what the reasons could be, given everything we know about the facts of this case, and facts that have now been independently affirmed by the Civilian Oversight Agency.
You're here with Reverend Dr. Marsha Hatch, and this is All Hands on Deck with Ira Ackery and the fabulous lady Doris Davenport. You can call us right now if you have any comments or questions at 312-738-1060. That was fast. Caller, welcome to the show. You're on All Hands on Deck with...
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes. Listen, number one, I don't mind paying taxes. We're going to pay taxes. You're going to pay taxes anywhere you go. Some might be higher and some might be lower, but you're going to pay taxes. Another thing, I love Chicago. I love Chicago, Illinois. Born and raised there. But I'm about to move out of here. I'm moving down to El Paso, Texas. But I'm going to keep 2 residents here. But let me tell you, we always complain about who we put in, but then when they get them in, we still complain about it. I don't have no control after we get people in and they don't do like what we want to do, then we must vote them out.
All right.
Now,
Is that your comment?
Holy no. The main comment, I think people want to leave Chicago because of the crime. The crime here is horrible.
I agree with you.
Now, yeah, look in your district, Austin. Look in Inglewood. But let me tell you, we need to learn to clean our neighborhood up. People see you cleaning it up, then they will try to clean it up. Crime is everywhere, but I like to go somewhere where crime is, hey kids, stop. I like to move somewhere where crime is not as great as it is. They're always talking about the killing, but how about the shooting? 12 people shot, one dead. You know,
All
the
right.
shooting is messed up. Thank you for
Listen,
taking the call. Let me get out there so I
okay,
can
I
give
just
you a
want to say this to you. I appreciate your passion. You called us several times last year, and I want to invite you, bring that activist spirit to the Leaders Network one of these second Tuesdays at 9:30 at Columbus Park Refectory. Look us up, Leaders Network Chicago. Thanks for calling. What do you
Well,
think?
I mean, the caller is atypical in that he's obviously got 3 residences,
Yeah.
and most people have 1 at best. But he is typical in his frustration.
Sure.
That the violence in Chicago in many of our neighborhoods. But I think we got to be clear that that's not in every neighborhood in Chicago.
No.
It's only in certain neighborhoods. There are parts of Chicago that would not be personally touched by a violence epidemic, and so I think
We've
that
been making that case for a while.
yeah,
That
and
it's
so
a tale of two cities.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Certainly, what's going on in Garfield Park with Betty Jones and LaQuintonio LaGreer could not be going on with families in North Park.
No.
It made that case very clear. You know, it's a tale of two cities. On one side of town, you have poverty and you have public safety issues. On the other side of town, you have booming schools and you have economic boom. You know, but it's the same city.
Yeah, and it's about the disinvestment in parts of the city that correlate to the violence. I mean, people in desperation are not at their best. And so, if we create desperate conditions, then people act out of that desperation. And so that these communities are segregated from opportunity. The opportunity that's available in other parts of the city it has a lot to do with why we see what we see.
So you heard it here first that there's an action being planned here Thursday here in Chicago on the 5th floor, Cook County. Taking it to Kim Foxx and to the mayor, right?
Yeah, we'll be at 10 o'clock at the offices of Kim Foxx. And then we're also holding the mayor responsible for the actions of his superintendent and how the superintendent responds to the findings of COPA.
Let me just tell you, this is pretty interesting. I've been doing civil rights with you for a few years, and we both were trained by Reverend Jesse Jackson. And this is kind of awkward for us, we rarely have did political actions against people of the African American persuasion. That's a great point you get ready to make right now.
And we have to, I think, help the people in our community understand how politics work.
And justice, right?
Yeah. And it's not about black or white, obviously. Yeah. It's about wrong and right. But
I like that.
But the point is that if Kim Foxx is going to be a great public servant, we have to make her be that. I mean, this is not something you and I come up with.
Sure.
And folks that know a little bit about history know that you would have civil rights activists coming into the White House, talking to the president wanting to do a certain action, and then say, now go out there, organize, and make me do it. That's really how it works.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We got one more caller, and then we're going to have to wrap up. See how fast the time goes. Caller, welcome to the show. You're on All Hands on Deck with Dr. Hatch.
Hi. So I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, because I've been following this case a little bit. I understand that the young man, Quintonio, may have had some mental health issues, and I also understood that he had a bat, and not a gun. So I guess my questions are, firstly, do you think that the police need some sort of special training when dealing with people who are mentally ill?
That's a very good question.
Secondly, do you think that there is an obligation to try to de-escalate a crisis, particularly if the person is armed with a weapon?
Let me answer you, caller, because you bring up a great point. The answer is yes. Obviously, they need special training. But let me challenge you. Research the judge that's sitting on the case for the policeman that shot Laquan McDonald. That judge was a war veteran who shot a rifle, and the bullet went through the house of his neighbor. and he was holed up in an upstairs bedroom, and the police came in, and then he requested an Irish priest. They got him an Irish priest. And then he requested an Irish sergeant to turn himself into. They went and got him an Irish sergeant. And he finished law school and is sitting on the bench and is sitting on the case of Jason Van Dyke. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, and so obviously, I mean, we talk as if mental illness is something that is unusual. I mean, there are a lot of people with a lot of challenges. It's an illness, and it meant that Quintonio should have been treated with compassion and not bullets.
Not only was he a patient who's dealing with mental illness, but he's a ward of the state.
He was a ward of the state.
And that's what makes it such a
who made it
travesty.
to college.
Absolutely.
Who ran a marathon
It's
that
a great
summer.
story, actually.
Absolutely. Who was the robotics champion in the school district of Gwendolyn Brooks College Prep, where he attended that spring. I mean, this kid was 19 years old. He deserved the right to live.
And we're going to be fighting with you. We're going to use our voice and our influence. It's going to be an unusual year, and there's going to be a lot of focus on the 5th floor of Chicago, because also the case of Laquan McDonald will also be, will transpire this year.
It's going to percolate.
Yeah, it's going to be hot in the kitchen. Any parting comments?
No, that's, our prayers again are out. I just want to say, for some people, these are cases and issues and news stories, but you were with me Sunday. The grief is very real. The damage that's been done to the dynamics of the Jones family. We had the girls over to the house yesterday. My wife cooked dinner for them. I mean, they lost their mother. This is not a news story. This is not politics.
No.
This is really, they need to be at least given justice and compensation.
And let me just tell you, emotionally, this was pretty tough for me, because over the years, I've seen you get emotional at press conferences, particularly when Barack Obama and Jeremiah Wright had their little issue in the media. But when I saw this girl at your church break down, it nearly brought me to tears. Caller, real quick, 10 seconds, caller. Welcome to the show. All hands on deck with Dr. Hatch. Speak.
Hello.
Real quick.
Hello.
Well, turn your television off. You got to speak quickly.
Okay, I'm just trying to find out someone can help my granddaughter. She has a problem, nowhere to go. Really, she lives in a slum landlord building. And the landlord really don't want to help her. He invests with rats and also with roaches.
What ward are you in?
I don't know. It's on the south side, around by Stone Island.
Call 311 or call your alderman, and they should be able to help you right away. Thank you for calling us. We want to be able to help all of our people. Do that, and let me know how it worked out for you next week, okay? All right? Thank you. Pastor, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Reverend.
Me and Doris really appreciated it.
Thank you, Sister
I wish she could have interviewed today. I'm out of gas, but I guess we got a chance. Good, I was out of gas. I got a chance to let you do all the talking.
I have to come back and be interviewed by Miss Davenport next.
That's right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Myself,
all hands on
and the beautiful Lady Doris Davenport. See you next week.